Hi everyone and welcome to the Football Analyst. Today we'll be looking at Mikel Arteta's Arsenal and the tactics they employ in the wake of their poor form. The games we'll be focusing on are the draw against Liverpool in the Premier League and the UCL win against PSG. Without further ado, let's get stuck in and have a look at the Gunners' tactics in possession. Arsenal like to set up with a double pivot predominantly when playing out from the back. They also like to push their fullbacks up and incorporate their keeper in a back three. This then forms their 3-4-4 shape, with the keeper included, with Havertz and Trossard pinning the two opposing holding midfielders, and the width from the centre-backs attracting the opposing wingers' attention. Arsenal can effectively open up space to play direct into the wing-backs if they need to, and potentially have a 2v1 against the opposing fullback. Here we can see Arsenal opening up space to play into the wide areas, moving past Liverpool's press. We can see Timber's left wide open, he's able to receive from the keeper and push forward. Here we can clearly see Arsenal's 3-4-4 shape, albeit with the wingers missing. Also we can see Liverpool's 4-2-4 pressing shape. Within this setup, Arsenal have effectively created space wide for a direct ball into the fullback in order to progress past the press. So as we can see, Liverpool's front four here, they're tied up with the amount of numbers Arsenal have here, which is really a 5. They've got the two centre halves here, the keeper with their double pivot. So they're outnumbered 5-4 here, Liverpool. They're also tied, their two double pivots are tied in narrow, which does open up the space for Partey, who was playing at fullback in this match, and Timber on the left. Here is another example from their Champions League match against PSG of them playing directly into the fullbacks. So as we can see, the ball's transition wide. PSG has sort of got the similar 4-2-4 shape, and they've actually just done a switch across the other side of the ground into their fullback. However, if we play the previous clip against Liverpool a little longer, we can see that Arsenal have nowhere to go once the fullback progresses the ball, and it's easy for Liverpool to retrieve possession. Timber has little options besides holding the ball up or trying a risky pass into Trossard or to play it backwards. And we can see Liverpool are able to just squeeze Timber into this part of the field. He can't go backwards because of Mohamed Salah. And then the two midfielders, I think that's Curtis Jones with McAllister here, are blocking any pass inside. And so they're able just to squeeze Timber in tight here and get the ball back. So it's quite easy to defend as long as the defensive team are aware that the fullback is likely to get it in some space, and if they can transition their defensive shape into a position where that fullback really has no options to go, and then they can slowly squeeze the press onto him, which has meant that they rank at the time of recording 17th for total progressive passing distance in the Premier League. For reference, of the current top 7, only Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa rank outside the top 6 for the statistic. So if we look at the top 6 for this statistic, we can see that a lot of the top clubs, the big clubs, are ranked in the top 6. Manchester City, United are even there, Chelsea, Tottenham, Brighton, Liverpool, all the sort of teams in pretty good form. We can see Nottingham Forest are down quite low. They obviously play with their own tactics, different to the rest of the top 6, and then Aston Villa are sort of in the middle. But Arsenal, for a team like Arsenal to rank so low, it is surprising. However, when Arsenal revert to their more traditional inverted fullback setup, it does open up the field, creating more space for progressive passes. In this scenario, they have particularly set the ground up to play into Trossard, who drops into midfield. Havertz's position is critical in drawing the central midfielder out. So we can see Thomas Partey inverts into that inverted fullback position, or the double pivot. Merino sort of hangs a bit higher, creating this overload of 3 on this flank. And also Havertz pushes from his striker position over to the flank with Bukayo Saka. So this is important because Saka's really pinning this fullback. And this defensive midfielder, who I think is McAllister in this case, is worried about leaving this space, but he's also worried about Havertz getting a 2v1 with Saka over here. So he is forced to press across a bit further than what he would like, whilst Gravenberch is tied up with Merino, who's creating this 3v2 up here against the fullback. We can see in this clip Partey has inverted. Merino is pushed high, McAllister is drawn towards Havertz on the wing, which allows Trossard to drop in and receive and turn under little pressure. Arsenal are essentially in a 3-2-5 setup in this scenario, and this allows a more aggressive attack in transition. Let's now take a look at how Arsenal press their opponents. Arsenal play a 4-4-2, which matches practically man-to-man against the now popular 2-4-4 shape that teams like to play out with. They play man-to-man essentially, and their centre halves will be very aggressive and track runs into midfield from the striker or number 10. They do this to force play backwards into traffic and elicit mistakes from the opposition. Here we can see that in this scenario, Arsenal have really pinned this striker from turning or playing off. They've got lots of numbers surrounding the ball, whereas Liverpool seem to have numbers on the outer ring, where I can't remember who, but they are unable to get the pass to. Here we can see Liverpool rotate the ball out to the right side and play into Jones, who has dropped in to receive. Gabriel has pushed high to press and force him backwards to Trent, who then feels like he needs to play a risky pass in order to escape the press or progress the ball. It is then cut off by Declan Rice. However, we can see that through clever positioning of numbers, Liverpool can still find a free man whilst pinning Gabriel in the defensive line. It's very smart from Liverpool to push both Curtis Jones and Nunes over to the right, and very effective against a man-to-man press that still likes to maintain its shape. Merino has had to try to recover from Gravenberch, as Ben White is now the man with the marker, but doesn't want to travel that far away from his starting position to mark Jones, and Liverpool are now out of their back third with potential to push on. Another way that's tried and true against a 4-4-2 press is to simply rotate the ball and play with 3 in central midfield in order to force the press to rotate markers. Here we see Saka press and McAllister cleverly move down the wing, which drags Rice well away from where the ball is going to be rotated. This means that when Trossard and Merino rotate to press the ball and first receiver, Havertz must figure out where he needs to fill in back in midfield, but it's too late and Jones is found and he's able to play the ball forward to Mohamed Salah. We can see this moment in the screenshot. Jones, as the third midfielder, demands that either Trossard or Havertz rotate to him, as Rice and Merino are tasked with the other two. So we can see Merino has to pick up Gravenberch, who's the first receive, so he's just left Jones, and then Trossard has just left Gravenberch to pick up Kanata, who's just received the ball. Now Rice is out of the play because he was with McAllister, who had drifted down to this wide position, so he can't really effectively get back to Jones, and Saka was tied up with Robertson. So it's really up to Havertz to rotate to Jones, but he's too slow to identify the situation or too fatigued in the moment to get there. And as we can see, Kanata is able to easily play the ball to Jones, who has time even to have a look forward to see what options there may be. We can also clearly see how effective the man-to-man press is when Arsenal press high on goal kicks when a team sets up very deep in their own half. A lot of teams are doing this in order to isolate their forwards and get 1v1s at the halfway line, but in more open play it is easier for top teams to play through that 4-4-2 press. In conclusion, Arsenal are simply becoming too easy to play against, and particularly easy to play through. Arsenal perform at their best with an inverted fullback, however currently lack the personnel with the ability to do so. The more rigid style is becoming easy for the top teams to thwart, and their 4-4-2 man press is too easy to pull apart when they are prepared to break shape to maintain the press. It will be interesting to see Arteta and Arsenal's results and where they stand post-Christmas. Just want to say thanks to everyone for watching the video. This video was recorded just before their match against Chelsea in the Premier League, so it'll be interesting to see what tactics Arsenal and Arteta come to that game with and what the result is, because recently they've been very poor. I think they've just lost to Newcastle, and their Champions League performances haven't been great either, so it'll be interesting to see how they go leading up to Christmas and where they sit at about the halfway mark of the Premier League. All in all, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and may your team be forever winning.